What is up, guys? I'm your friendly neighborhood Web-Warrior Fanatic, and today I got two new cards to review for you guys. Thank you so much to Fantasy Flight Games for sending me these cards to preview for y'all. It's always an honor, and I'm very glad to be a part of the creator program. If you are just interested in seeing the cards and you don't want to hear my commentary on it, I do have a link in the description of this video to a Google Drive where you guys can just look at and read those cards yourselves. I'll also have timestamps all over this video for each part that I'm doing in this video here. And I also want to give a special shout out to Olivia from Fantasy Flight Games. She's the community manager and she selects, who gets what cards. And she picked out two cards that have Spider-Man on the art to send to me. So that's so awesome, and I love the flair on these cards as well. So both of the two aspect cards that I got and will be revealing for you guys do have Spider-Man on the art. And yeah, let's go ahead and just jump into it. One of them is going to take a lot longer to go over than the other one, but yeah, I'm going to share all my thoughts for both these cards here, and yeah, hope you guys all enjoy this video. So the first card that Fantasy Flight Games sent me is Cameo right here. This is a leadership card that will be in Wonder Man's Hero Pack, and this card, guys, it's a game changer. It's game breaking in terms of like thematicness and funness, but I think it's actually quite balanced in how you actually want to use this card in terms of like power ranking and all that stuff. It doesn't like break the game in terms of like, making like overpowered combos, but it does break the game in terms of making it super duper fun. So let's take a look at this card right here. It's a support and it's a setup card, max 1 per deck. As a setup ability here, you search your collection for any identity-specific ally for an identity not in this game. Shuffle that ally into your deck, then you discard 2 cards from your hand and remove this card, the Cameo support, from the game. Okay, you guys may have noticed in the background right here, I have every single identity-specific ally in the game of Marvel Champions, and I will be ranking all of them in this tier list for how good they are with Cameo. So yeah, I thought I had to do a video like this. In my live streams, a lot of you guys have been recently asking me to do an identity-specific tier list. So this one, we're doing a tier list right here for Cameo. So first off here, let's go over the rulings of how a Cameo works with setup. So setup here in the Rules Reference Guide 1.7 says that cards with the setup word start the game in play. So Cameo here, it's a part of one of the cards in your 40 card to 50 card deck, but whenever you start off the game, it's going to be in play. Then you do the player setup after you do the villain setup and after you do your mulligans, right? So you mulligan all your cards, you got everything that you want in your hand, and then you trigger the setup ability here for Cameo, which is going to be in play. So now you search your collection for any identity-specific ally for an identity that's not in this game. So that means, for example, let's say you're playing as the Peter Parker Spider-Man hero. Well, you cannot grab the Black Cat ally and shuffle her into your deck because she's already in your deck. But also, if you're playing with someone else who's playing as the Peter Parker Spider-Man hero, you cannot grab a Black Cat ally elsewhere and shuffle into your deck because that Black Cat ally is for the Peter Parker Spider-Man hero, and that Black Cat is an identity-specific ally for an identity that is in the game, right? So for multiplayer, if you're playing with anyone that has that identity-specific ally, you cannot choose that ally to make a Cameo in your deck. So basically, this just means that you have to select an ally that is not an identity-specific card for one of the heroes, that's playing the game if you're playing multiplayer, or for your own hero if you're playing in true solo. Then what you do is you shuffle the ally into your deck. So you don't get it to your hand or anything like that. It just goes in your deck. And then you have to discard 2 cards from your hand and remove this Cameo support from the game. So very, very low tempo, right? Like this is the way to balance this card because you can add any ally into your deck, create some powerful combos there. But then on your first hand, you usually have like 6 cards in alter ego. You lose 2 of those cards, right? It's not 2 resources. You have to discard 2 cards straight up from your hand. So most heroes going to only have 4 cards left in their hand. If you're playing as Hulk Bruce Banner, for example, he has no identity-specific ally anyways, but if you use Cameo for him, you can grab one of those allies, shuffle into your deck. He only has a hand size of 5 in alter ego, so you lose 2 of those cards. You now only have 3 cards for that first turn. I don't know, that's a little bit tough there, but I think that's totally fair for what this card allows you to do. So let's go ahead and jump over back to the tier list right here. And yeah, I have every single identity-specific ally in the game of Marvel Champions, including the newest ones. Like we have Moon Knight from Tiger's hero deck, and we also have Wiccan from Hulkling's hero deck. And I also have Amadeus Cho here, which is not released yet, but he is the identity-specific ally that was previewed for Hercules. I don't know if Wonder Man will be getting an identific ally, but if he does, I'll have to update this list here. But we do have Amadeus Cho here for Hercules. So yeah, all the identific allies that are in the game of Marvel Champions are on this list. And we're going to be ranking all of them here for how good they are with Cameo, and you want this ally to cameo in your game and in your deck, no matter which tier you're playing. So here are the tier brackets that I have here. So in the S tier, that's going to be the best allies. We have triple cash sign here cameo. These are the most expensive cameos because they are the best quality. So any allies I go here are top tier peak cards to target for cameo. We have the A tier here, which are the A-listers. So these allies are still very, very good to include, in your deck with Cameo. We have the B tier here. So, most identity-specific cards are better than aspect cards. So if the ally is still going to be better than an aspect card, I'm going to put them in this B tier right here. The C tier is just, a stat stick. So all the identity-specific allies are usually, not all the time, but usually pretty good for the hero that they are an ally for. But sometimes they may just be a stat stick because their ability only applies for that hero, right? So if you're using with a different hero, they're just a good stat stick. Sometimes not even that. If they're not even that, they go in the D tier. These actors right here, they have no range. They do not belong in any movie other than the movie of which that their hero is in, right? So yeah, that's gonna be allies that have no range. They're not good actors, and we're gonna put them there in the D tier. Okay, so let's go and jump into it here. I have all the allies here in order of when they were released in Marvel Champions. We're gonna jump straight into it. So we have Black Cat right here. She is the identity-specific ally for Peter Parker Spider-Man in the core set. She's a 2-cost ally, 1 thwart, 1 attack, 2 hit points here, and she does have a force response. After you play Black Cat, you must discard the top 2 cards of your deck and add each card with the printed mental resources card to your hand. If it's not a mental resource, they just get discarded, right? The most unique thing about Black Cat is that she does not take consequential damage for attacking, which means that she can be easily Voltron and stay in play forever because each time she attacks, she doesn't take damage, right? So yeah, she is a pretty good ally, a pretty unique ally, and I think that she goes all the way here in the A tier. She's an A-lister. She's not like a S tier cameo or anything like that, but she's definitely a very solid ally that you wouldn't mind in any deck because of that ability to do damage infinitely and not take consequent damage. Hey guys, it's future Web-Warrior Fanatic here, and I'm editing this video, and I just realized that I forgot to mention Sidekick here, which actually justifies some of my rankings for some of these allies, like Black Cat, for example. I put her in the A tier because Sidekick works very well with her, with Cameo. And this is a huge card for Cameo here. So it's a 1-cost upgrade, comes in the Age of Apocalypse, and you can attach it to any identity-specific ally you control, even if it's not the identity-specific ally that is with your hero, right? So if you're playing Peter Parker Spider-Man, you can attach to any identity-specific ally you control, not just Black Cat. So if you use Cameo to grab another identity-specific ally, you can attach Sidekick to the ally, and that ally becomes your sidekick and gets +2 hit points. As a response, after you make a base recovery, you can heal 2 damage from that attached ally. You also have this card here, also from the Age of Apocalypse, side-by-side 2-cost leadership event. As a hero action, you can ready your sidekick, ready your hero, and then choose one. So either heal 1 damage from both characters, or both characters get +1 thwart and +1 attack until the end of phase. So being able to make one of your allies your sidekick, ready both your hero and that sidekick, and give them buffs to their thwart and attack goes crazy. So yeah, in this tier list here, I ranked a lot of the allies that can be Voltron a little bit higher. I apologize for not mentioning earlier. Let's hop back to the tier list there, talking about Black Cat some more. And another cool thing with her is with her force response here, you can really build off of that and build like a mental resource type of deck. Peter Parker does that great because he already has Black Cat, and he can do stuff with like Ingenuity, with Moon Girl, and a lot of the leadership allies that are very good. Also have a printed mental resource like Maria Hill, Nick Fury. So yeah, Peter Parker works very well with that. But if you're using Cameo with Black Cat, you're playing in leadership, and yeah, she also can allow you to do a lot of fun and cool builds with all those other allies because they're all mental resources. If you discard them with Black Cat, you can add to your hand and just really allow you to build your deck focusing on mental resources, which can be a lot of fun. So I think she opens a lot of unique possibilities for a lot of heroes. Also, if you want to do some Voltron stuff with another hero, then Black Cat's also a great target for that. So she's an A-lister, starting off the list here strong. Okay, let's go next to the second ally here. This is Captain Marvel's ally, Spider-Woman Jessica Drew. She's a 3-cost ally with 2 thwart, 2 attack, and 2 hit points. Okay, This is a pretty good stat line here. 2 thwart, 2 attack, but 3 cost is a little bit hefty for only having 2 hit points. But her response is pretty bonkers. After Spider-Woman enters play, confuse the villain. This is the same ability as Professor X. I mean, he allows you to choose some different abilities, but the main ability that people choose with that basic ally, Professor X, is to confuse a villain. And she can do that while also staying in play and being able to attack for 2. So, yeah, she's an amazing ally. Having access to confuse is crazy good. I'm going to put her in SSS tier, cash, cameo. We really want Spider-Woman to cameo in our games. If we grab her with cameo, she allows us a lot of room to flip down and just do alter ego stuff. She works well with every single hero that wants to access their alter ego, which is almost every single hero in the game. So definitely a top tier ally to cameo, right? She's on the level of like a Professor X or Nick Fury. Also like amazingly powerful basic allies in Marvel Champions. So this ability, definitely worth it here for Spider-Woman. Very, very strong ally here. Next, let's take a look at Hellcat here. This is the ally for She-Hulk. 3 cost ally, 2 thwart, 1 attack, 3 hit points. This is a decent stat line for a 3 cost ally. As an action, you can return Hellcat back to your hand. Okay, this is a super underrated action right here, and also a very, very good action in my opinion. So you play Hellcat, you can have her thwart for 2, and if you want to, you can trigger her action, return it back to your hand, play her back down again, and thwart for 2 again. Where you get the most value out of this is if you play Hellcat, thwart for 2, next turn you thwart for 2 again, and then trigger the action, and then return to your hand and play her for the first time that turn, and she can immediately thwart again for 2, right? So she's one of those allies that can constantly be a good resource sink for you if you have extra economy, extra resource to funnel that into, and she can just help you out a lot by thwarting for 2. So yeah, she's a pretty good ally. I'm gonna put her in the A-lister here. Also better than normal aspect cards, right? She goes, she's an A-lister that we want to feature here with Cameo. I think she also works with any hero, especially ones that have a lot of economy. They can benefit a lot more off her than a hero like She-Hulk, who has a little bit less economy than like your average hero. But yeah, if you're playing someone like, let's say like Captain Marvel with triple resources, I mean, if you add Hellcat into your deck and you have that triple resource, nothing else to spend it on, just return Hellcat back to your hand, play her right back down with that triple, and have her activate again. A lot of good value right there. Okay, next let's go over War Machine. He's the ally for Iron Man, also in the core set. Okay, this guy may be our first actor that has no range. So 4 cost ally, 1 thwart, 2 attack, and 4 hit points. This is not a great stat line as even a stat stick, right? Because he's 4 cost. Like, if he was 3 cost, 1 thwart, 2 attack, and 3 hit points, that is a decent stat line. 4 hit points is a lot, and that's pretty nice, but having a whole more cost just for 1 more hit point, I don't think it's worth it. And his action here, it's almost never usable, right? It's really good against like Ultron, right? You can exhaust War Machine, deal him 2 damage, and he does 1 damage to every single enemy. Like, that's good against Ultron drones. There's not a lot of situations where that's going to be as good, and it's a pretty niche ability. So, unfortunately, War Machine, you got no range. I do not want you to cameo in my games. Even when I'm playing as Iron Man, I don't actually want you to cameo. So maybe he's just not that great in general. But yeah, this is one of those allies you probably don't ever want to grab with cameo. But if for some reason you really like to flare the character, I mean, by all means, go ahead. Let's move on to the next ally here, which is Shuri. So she's the ally for T'Challa Black Panther. 2 cost ally, 1 thwart, 1 attack, and 3 hit points. Okay, not the best stat line, but a 2 cost ally having 3 hit points, that's already great, guys. So actually, this is actually a good stat line to have 3 hit points for 2 costs. A lot of 2 cost allies just have 1 thwart, 1 attack, and 2 hit points. So she's already above average here. So she's got to go at least in stat stick with her stats alone. Her response here, after Shuri enters play, search your deck for any upgrade and add to your hand, then shuffle your deck. Guys, this is game breaking, right? So unfortunately, most of the time you will be playing in leadership with the Cameo card, but I was thinking if you're playing like, perfect defense and protection, she can grab any of those perfect defense upgrades for your engine, right? But if you're playing like a hero that has a very key upgrade, like Ant-Man and his helmet, or like Magic and you want like her sword, or Valkyrie and you want her sword, right? Shuri can grab the upgrade for you and tutor it to your hand whenever you have Shuri, especially if you have a lot of identity-specific upgrades, right? Shuri can, each time that you recur her, you can like make a call for her, and each time she enters play, she'll grab one of those upgrades for you. And at worst, you're refunding part of her cost because you're getting an extra resource in your hand, but at best, I mean, this is such a great card, right? So T'Challa, the hero for Black Panther, he's a little bit undertuned because Shuri can grab him in one of those upgrades. But any heroes that have essential upgrades that you really want to have in play, Shuri is amazing for. So I'm gonna actually put her in the cameo here. Is she as good as Spider-Woman? Oh, it depends. So sometimes I think the thing with Shuri is that she can actually be better with other heroes than she is actually with T'Challa, right? Because T'Challa, his Black Panther upgrades are very pivotal to his kit, but you can grab them on turn one with his sub ability anyways, right? So you can like two one them from your deck. But for some of these heroes that like everything depends on that, right? Like Quicksilver with his friction resistance, right? He really needs that upgrade to get going, and Shuri can just get that for him. So any hero that you're thinking of that has that like key upgrade, guys, Shuri is amazing for. So for those heroes, I think Shuri is better than Spider-Woman for. But I think the majority of the time and the more like universal, type of the time, Spider-Woman will be better than Shuri just because that confuse on a villain. I mean, that's just invaluable. The only time where this is not as good is if the villain is steady or stalwart. But even on steady enemies, confuse is still going to be a little bit valuable. And yeah, I think most of the time the confuse is more valuable than Shuri, especially if you're playing on like expert one or easier difficulties like standard one or something like that. But yeah, I mean, you can definitely make the case for Shuri being above Spider-Woman here. These are both really good allies, and you can really maximize their potentials with the heroes that I talked about or specific other heroes that can, synergize with upgrades here. Next, let's go over Agent 13. She's the ally for Captain America. 3 cost ally, 2 thwart, 1 attack, and 3 hit points here. As a response, after she enters play, you can remove 2 death from a scheme. This is just a solid universal ability that will help you out. Every single time she enters play, she can help you remove some threat. I'm gonna put her in the B tier here. She's definitely solid in her own right. She's nothing like an A-lister where she's doing anything like crazy. She's just super good thwarting tempo for you, right? You just play her, remove 2 threat, and then she can also thwart for 2, so she can remove 4 threat, on her enter play. But I don't think that she's on a level where you can really abuse stuff like with Hellcat or Black Cat, right? These guys you can actually like build decks around and really abuse them. For Agent 13, you can't really like do too much. She's just like a good universal card, better than your normal aspect card ally. Next, let's go over Mockingbird here. This is the ally for the Hawkeye hero in the Rise of the Red Skull. Mockingbird is pretty insane. So 3 cost ally, 2 thwart, 2 attack, 3 hit points. This is an amazing stat line for a 3 cost ally. Usually they have like 1 thwart or 1 attack instead of having 2 for both. So great stat line there. As interrupt, whenever the villain initiates an attack against you, you can spend 1 resource of any type, then return Mockingbird to your hand, prevent all the damage from this attack. Do you guys know the Protection Nightcrawler ally? Because that ally is kind of what Mockingbird does, except Mockingbird does it for every single hero, right? Nightcrawler has to defend, and he only blocks off from like X-Men's taking damage. So if he's defending for you, then obviously, you can have him exhaust for that and then return back to your hand. And you have to spend a energy resource. For Mockingbird, you can spend any resource to return to your hand and block out all damage. This is a very powerful ability that can come in very clutch a lot of the time. So, I mean, she goes at least in A-lister. I almost want to put her in the cameo category. Dang, is she a cameo here? I mean, her cost is a little bit high. I think Mockingbird goes in S tier. She's pretty valuable, but I'm putting her at the bottom of the S tier here behind Shuri and Spider-Woman. Just because this ability here, it's very expensive to constantly replay her and use her ability, right? It's like, she costs 3, use her effect. It's 1 more resource there if you want to constantly play her and then bring her back to your hand, play her and bring her back to your hand, right? It's better to just chump block with the ally, right? Shuri's just such a cheap ally, you can just chump block with her during the villain phase. So it's nice to be able to block out like overkill, piercing, stuff like that. But in situations that aren't like that, she's not going to be as valuable, but still an amazing cameo that you would definitely want in your deck. Next, we have the Captain Marvel ally. This is the ally for Spider-Woman from the Rise of the Red Skull. 4 cost ally, so very expensive here. 2 thwart, 2 attack, and 3 hit points. This is not the best stat line for a 4 cost ally, but her ability more than makes up for it, right? It's a response after Captain Marvel uses a basic power, you can draw a card. So what that means is after she thwarts or attacks, you can just immediately draw a card. You're already playing in leadership with Cameo, so you can include stuff like Command Team or Get Ready to give her more ready to draw more cards. You can heal her up as well. So yeah, she's kind of like an Avengers Mansion that has more tempo because she's able to thwart and attack for 2. So any hero would love to have this ally in their deck. I'm putting her in the S tier, but how far high in this S tier cameo do we want Captain I think she's better than Mockingbird because you can also do a bunch of awesome Voltron builds with this ally right here. Is she better than Shuri? Ooh, that's a tough one. I think I'm gonna put her behind Shuri. Okay, hear me out, guys. I know a lot of people think that she's like one of the best identity-specific allies in the game. I don't think she's like the best one. She's a great one if you are building the deck for her and you keep her around. If you don't keep her around, just let her activate 3 times. I mean, she draws you 3 cards over, 3 turns, which is still great, but then she goes away, right? I think you have to heal her to give her more value to put her like above these cards here. But either way, I mean, she's still good to be able to do that. But I think that Shuri being able to dig for any upgrade you want, an identity-specific upgrade, or just any upgrade in general, that gives so much more versatility. And Shuri is basically like a one-cost ally because she's refunding you that card, that upgrade that you could get to tutor to your hand, right? So I think that Shuri's better than Captain Marvel, but you could definitely make the case. Captain Marvel is a really good ally to Cameo with as well. And you want to build any type of like Voltron deck with her is really, really good. So yeah. Next, we have Red Dagger. He is the ally for Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel, so he comes in her hero pack. He's a 3-cost ally with 2 Thor, 2 attack, and 3 hit points. Already an amazing stat line there. As an interrupt, when Red Dagger is defeated, you can spend 2 resources of different types to deal 2 damage to enemy and return Red Dagger to your hand. So this interrupt you can use during the player phase whenever he is defeated with consequential damage, or during the villain phase if you chump block with him, he's about to die. You use the ability to deal 2 damage and then bring it back to your hand. This is strictly not as good as the Mockingbird out that we just took a look at over here. So I'm gonna put him. He's better than normal aspect cards. I don't know if he's an A-lister though. I'm gonna do 2 damage. You have to spend 2 more resources and then you gotta spend 3 more to play him down. I think he's better than stat stick, but I think he just goes here behind Agent 13. He's better than normal aspect cards, but I think it's just a lot of resources that you have to spend to really get this guy going. Next, we have Lady Sif here. 4-cost ally. She comes in Thor's hero pack. So 2 Thor, 2 attack, 3 hit points. Not the best stat line for being 4 costs. 4 costs is a little bit hefty for this type of stat here. Response, after Lady Sif enters play, you can ready up Thor or Odinson. Okay. She has no range, guys. I'm sorry to say, because Thor, if you are playing as Thor, you cannot, grab Lady Sif with Cameo. And if you're playing with any friends that have Thor, you cannot grab Lady Sif, right? So basically, there is no Thor or Odinson as any of the players. Then you can grab Lady Sif with Cameo, and then she's essentially readying nobody, right? Her response is basically blank, so she is nothing, and she is not a static to me. There are way better statted allies, even amongst aspect cards, than 4 costs for 2 Thor, 2 attack, and 3 hit points. So she goes in the D tier. We do not want her to Cameo in any deck here. Is she better than War Machine? I'm put her as a better. I'm put her as better because even though War Machine has 1 more hit point, she has 1 more thwarting, and I think the 2 thwarting is more valuable, more high tempo there. So it's close. They're both not good, but I think Lady Sif is better than War Machine here. All right, next we got Winter Soldier, who is the ally for Black Widow in Black Widow's hero pack. 4-cost ally, 2 thwart, 2 attack, and 4 hit points. He has a pretty interesting ability here for non-Black Widow players. Reduce the cost to play Winter Soldier by 1 for each prep card you control. Where, well, there's a bunch of prep cards actually in Marvel Champions now. So with the expanded card pool, you can actually build some pretty cool decks with Winter Soldier, even if you are not playing as Black Widow. The first one that comes to my mind is going to be Practice Plan, but there are a lot of heroes that have prep cards as well, like Falcon has some cool preps, so he would also love to have Winter Soldier in his deck to get that cost reduction. But other than that, Winter Soldier doesn't really do anything further than that, and I think he's still best in Black Widow, right? Like, he's not gonna be better than Black Widow, so I don't even think he's better than normal aspect cards, because you have to build into him and you have to build into prep cards to actually make him better than normal aspect cards. Other than that, he's just a solid stat stick here, right? I mean, 4 costs, 4 hit points, 2 thwart, 2 attack. He is a better stat line than War Machine and Lady Sif. I think that's just right where we want the stats to be for a 4-cost ally. But if you get him for cheaper, I'm even better. But at the end of the day, he's always just going to be a stat stick here. So, still a decent card here, but you usually don't want to target him with Cameo. You want to target some of these nicer, juicier allies here with some better acting ability. Okay, next let's go over Wong. He is the ally for Doctor Strange in Doctor Strange's hero pack. It's a 3-cost ally, 1 thwart, 2 attack, 3 hit points, so a decent stat line for a 3-cost ally. Action, you can exhaust Wong. Choose to either heal 1 damage from your identity or discard the top card of the invocation deck. Well, there will never be an invocation deck in play whenever you are using Cameo to grab Wong, because no one can be Doctor Strange, if Cameo grabs Wong. But the first ability here to choose either heal 1 damage from your identity, I mean, that's not bad. You can, exhaust Wong to heal damage, and that's kind of infinite healing 1 damage every single turn. If you exhaust Wong every single turn, he does hog up an ally space, but I think he's a lot more versatile with the second ability here, with Doctor Strange. So at the end of the day, he's not bad. He goes in the... Ooh, is he better than aspect cards? I don't think he's better than aspect cards. I think he's still just going to be a stats at the end of the day. Like, healing 1 damage is nice. He has decent stats, but it's just pretty low tempo there, and it's not going to help you out that many times, I think. I think you have to play a sustained game where he's healing you a lot, right? Like, over, 10 turns, he usually, over 10 hit points. Then you get more value, but most of the time, I think it's going to be hard to get a lot of value out of this ally right here. And specifically because there is a better healing ally that we're going to go over in a little bit. So I think that target, you probably want to target that ally over Wong the majority of the time if you want healing from your ally from Cameo. So I'm putting him beneath Winter Soldier here in the C tier. Next we have Wasp. She is the identity-specific ally for Ant-Man. Wasp is 3 cost, 2 thwart, 2 attack, 3 hit points. That is a pretty good stat line for a 3 cost ally. Her response after Wasp enters play, you can do 2 damage to an enemy if you are in giant form, or remove 2 threat from a scheme if you're in tiny hero form. So basically, if you're playing as Ant-Man, you already have Wasp. If you're playing as Wasp, you cannot grab Wasp with Cameo. Well, you can actually grab with Cameo. You just can't have a player because of the unique rule here, right? Because you can't have the Wasp ally in play while the Wasp hero is in play. So you'll basically never be in giant form or tiny form. So when she enters play, she basically has a blank hero response. So she is just a static here. I'm gonna put her actually above Winter Soldier though, because I think, yeah, being 3 costs from the gate is a little better. In this Winter Soldier, you have to have some preps in play, and you have to be playing a hero that has preps or include, prep cards in your deck when your deck form. So yeah, I think it's basically just a blank ability, but decent stat stick there. Next we have the Ant-Man ally from Wasp hero deck. So 4 cost ally, 2 thwart, 2 attack, 3 hit points. Same type of ability. If you're in giant form, you get this type of kicker. If you're in tiny form, then you get that kicker. That's not that good, guys. We don't get any of the kickers here for the same reason why Wasp does not get her kicker. So yeah, he is strictly worse than Wasp, so at least he's going to be here. Winter Soldier is just strictly better because you can add in preps, right? So he's going to be at least here. And I think I'm actually putting him behind Wong. I mean, there's so many better options than him, right? You have Winter Soldier and this Wasp ally, which is just straight up better targets than Ant-Man, like, all the time. So, like, he's not going to be in no range, right? He's still, like, decently statted, right? Oh, wait, what am I looking at? He has 3 hit points. I thought he had 4. Just kidding, guys. He has no range, so he's going here right with Lady Sif. Yeah, because he's just for 4 costs. That's pretty expensive to have this sideline, right? For this sideline type of here, this type of sideline, I mean, for 3 costs is very good. For 4 costs, it's not that good anymore because now it's too expensive, right? I totally blanked out on that. So yeah, we're going to put him behind Lady Sif just because I'm kind of upset that I blanked out on that. So yeah, same exact type of ranking here for these 2 guards, though. They're totally equal for how you want to use them with Cameo. Next, we have the Scarlet Witch ally for Quicksilver, the Quicksilver hero. So 3 cost ally, 1 thwart, 1 attack, and 3 hit points. This is not a good stat line for a 3 cost ally. However, she does have an ability. As interrupt, whenever you use one of Scarlet Witch's basic powers, you can discard the top card of the encounter deck, and then for each boost icon discard this way, Scarlet Witch gets +1 to that power for this use. Okay, this can actually be really interesting if you're scrying a lot, particularly if you're playing Falcon, who can always see the top card of the encounter deck if you're during the player phase, right? So that's very useful to be able to guarantee what Scarlet Witch will get you. So there are situations where she can be very good. She's not the best ally unless you are really building into it. So don't want to put her in the B tier here, or she just, the thing is, she's not even a stat stick, especially if you whiff on that. I'm gonna put her in the bottom of the C tier. I think that, don't get me wrong, guys, you can get a lot of value from her and you can really build into her, but you need some scrying with her, and leadership has less scrying than justice, right? If you want to include her in your deck, you need to play in leadership to have access to Cameo. So there's just gonna be a lot less scrying there. For Falcon, if you're playing the Falcon hero, she's probably like an A-lister or even like an S-lister. And being able to get through another card for Falcon gives them more options. So I think for Falcon, she's like a guaranteed Cameo that you definitely want for the Falcon hero. But for most heroes, I think she just goes here in the C tier. Yeah, she has some range, right? She can do some good acting for sure. But I think that she needs like some more build around. So, you know, put her in a C tier, not really a stat stick, but just like she's situational, right? You need to really build into her for her to be good. And if you don't, she's not really that good. Next we have Quicksilver. 4 cost ally with 1 thwart, 2 attack, and 4 hit points here. So not the best down here. He's pretty expensive. But as an action, you can just ready Quicksilver limit once per phase. So you get a free ready off of him, right? So he's activating, you know, twice in a turn. He's actually pretty good. I think he's better than a stat stick. I think he's better than normal. I think if he was an aspect card, he would be included in a lot of decks. So I think he goes in an A-lister here. I'm gonna put him in front of Black Cat. Because this guy, like, obviously you want to build with him, right? If you don't build into him, he's still decent, right? 4 cost, he can like immediately swing for 2, like twice on turn he's played and do 4 damage, right, on play, or like do a mixture of thwarting and attacking. And whenever you're able to mix thwarting and attacking in one turn, that's very valuable. But if you can like Voltron him in leadership, keep him alive, give him like a Sky Cycle, do stuff to block out some consequential damage, you can like heal him up, stuff like that. I mean, he's activating twice per turn. If you buff up his stats too, you get a lot of value. He's a very good Voltron target. That used to be an ally that only Wanda could use, but now any hero can Voltron this Quicksilver ally. So I think that, yeah, he has a lot of value if you want to do that. And even if you don't, he's still a very good ally. Next, we have Nova Prime here. 5 cost ally with 2 thwart, 3 attack, and 3 hit points. Okay, this is an amazing stat line. I still think it's too much for 5 cost. I think that if he was a 4 cost ally, this would be an amazing stat line to have 2 thwart, more than 2 attack, right? 3 attack, and only having 3 hit points there. For 4 costs, it's good. 5 costs, not that great. As a response, though, after you play Nova Prime from your hand, it has to be from the hand. You defeat a Nolly minion. This card is Star-Lord's ally. He's not that good for Star-Lord. He's not that good outside of Star-Lord anyways. He does not have any range. This guy's not a good actor. I'm going to put him above these allies here. At least he has a situational use where he can defeat a Nolly minion, which if you do get that off, I mean, he can get some more value. Just 5 costs for that. That's your whole turn. That's your whole hand. Yeah, that's if he was bad there, but being able to trigger this and doing this is not bad. But he's not even in the stat stick category just because I'd rather just have a blank stat stick like Wasp here. 3 costs out, 3 hit points, 2 thwart, 2 attack. I'd rather have her than Nova Prime 99% of the time. So yeah, he goes here in the D tier. Alright. Next we have Nebula, who is the ally for the Gamora hero. So 2 cost ally, 2 thwart, 2 attack, 2 hit points. This is an amazing stat line right here. As a response, after Nebula enters play, search your deck for any attack or thwart event and add it to your hand, shuffle your deck. So she's basically refunding part of her cost every single time she enters play. And almost every single hero, not every single hero, but almost every single hero has attack and thwart events. So that's really good, right? Imagine Spider-Man playing her, getting a swing web kick. That's pretty cool. That makes her almost like 1 cost, right? Because she's 2 costs, but you refund that card. She helps for any attack and thwart event oriented hero, right? So you're playing like Kamala Khan, who wants attack and thwart events to like, you know, embiggen them and shrink them and stuff like that. You can include Nebula for leadership and then grab those events and then pop off, right? So Nebula has a lot of cool synergies. She is like way better than just a stat stick, right? Because I mean, she has the best stats anyways for a stat stick, but she's even better than that. I think that she goes in S tier, guys. She's Shuri level here. I do find that the upgrades are more valuable, right? That Shuri can grab any upgrade. If Nebula was like grab any event, I will put her above because you know, the 2 thwart 2 attack is a lot better than 1 thwart 1 attack. The 3 hit points is not enough to balance it out. But in fact, it has to be only an attack or thwart event, and especially because you're playing leadership, which has like less good attack and thwart events, right? If you could play this with like Justice and grab like those thwart events, or play in aggression and grab like those aggression attack events, that would be cool. Obviously, you can play as Spider-Woman or Adam Warlock, and then, you know, include leadership and like aggression to like have Nebula fetch you dive bombs and use Cameo to grab Nebula. That would be very cool, but I think most of the time Shuri is going to be better than Nebula. But I think this effect here and the stat line is better than Captain Marvel and Mockingbird. So Nebula is definitely an ally that we want to cameo in a lot of our games. Next we have Mantis. Oh, this was the ally I was talking about earlier for healing. Okay, so 2 cost ally, 2 thwart, 1 attack, 3 hit points. Guys, okay, I do want to know she does take 2 consequent damage for attacking. So you probably do not ever want to attack with her. I don't think I've ever attacked with Mantis. She's not a great attacker. She gets a lot more value from thwarting, like more than double the value, because she has, you know, double the thwarting stat, right? 2 thwart instead of 1 attack, and she only takes 1 consequent damage. At 3 hit points, this is an amazing, amazing stat line, right? One of the best statted allies in the game of Marvel Champions. 2 cost, 2 thwart, 1 attack, and 3 hit points. So she can thwart 3 times for only being 2 costs. That's insane. She's beefy at the 3 hit points, having the 2 thwart. Very, very good ally with the stat line itself, right? Now the action here is crazy. Exhaust Mantis, do 1 damage to her, heal 3 damage from any identity. Okay, this works so well in multiplayer, of course, but also it's very good in a true solo as well, especially because it's an action that you can use in Alter Ego and hero form. So having free heals in hero form playing in leadership with, Cameo for Mantis, guys, that unlocks a lot of things. You don't have to flip down to like recover. You can recover just up in hero form. And you can heal all your friends as well. She's minimum S tier, but where does she go in the S tier is the question. I almost want to put her here. I think the healing is so valuable. Oh man. This allows you to flip down to allow you to heal, but this just gives you the healing. She doesn't take a damage each time that she does that though. And you have the exhaust, so you can't throw at the same time that you're healing. But like the healing is so good. You can stack with other healing like Aunt May or something like that, and she just heals you so much. I think the healing is useful. I don't think she's better than like the confused and like this amazing stat line here on top of the confused, right? I think I love the upgrade stuff though with Shuri. I think I'm gonna put Mantis above Shuri just because she does have the better stats. I think the healing is very valuable. It's only from an identity, not from any allies. So at the same time, it's like that. I'll put her behind Shuri and in front of Nebula. I think this is where Mantis would go. Definitely an ally we always want to cameo, or always want to consider cameoing at least. So yeah, definitely a great target for cameo. All right, next we got Blue Marvel here. He's the ally for Spectrum in the Mad Titan Shadow. So Blue Marvel, 3 cost ally, 2 thwart, 2 attack, 3 hit points. This is a very good stat line for a 3 cost ally. Here response after he enters play, change energy forms. Well, unfortunately, Spectrum is the only hero in the game that has anything called an energy form. The other forms are called different things, so you cannot use his ability, basically, if you are using a cameo with Blue Marvel. So he basically has a blank effect here. But the stat stick, you guys already know, it's very good. It's the equivalent of Wasp here. So I'm going to put him just right here in front of Wasp. Easy choice, but they're like tied basically, right? Same as how Sif is tied with Ant-Man. Same stat line, no ability basically. So yeah, very, very good stats, but they're probably better cameo targets if you can use their abilities here as well. All right, next we got Pip the Troll. Oof, okay. 2 cost ally with 1 thwart, 1 attack, 2 hit points. Pip is a pretty good cameo target. He has toughness here. While Pip the Troll is in your hand, he gains interrupt. When a player is attacked, you can spend an energy and a mental resource. And you can put Pip the Troll into play under that player's control. So pretty cool because you can use it in multiplayer and give it to another player. But also he has toughness, so you can put him into your control and immediately have him exhaust to redirect the attack towards him, right? So yeah, when our player is attacked, right, you trigger interrupt, play Pip, exhaust Pip. He has toughness, right here. So then he'll take the attack for you and then live, right? So I want to put Pip very high. I think this is actually a very good ability for any hero to have, especially heroes that are more squishy. To have this, like, in your hand, be able to summon him if you draw into him, right? And the toughness to block out a hit. He can also chump block, the turn after, right? So he can block like 2 attacks for you, which is very valuable. But there is another ally that we will go over in a minute, that is strictly better than Pip, in my opinion. So it's a similar thing to the Wong healing, how Mantis is just a straight up better healer than Wong, which like makes me feel like Wong is not that good to target cameo with. I think Pip is in a similar thing, but at the same time, he's still way better than normal aspect cards. He is very good here. So I'm gonna still put him in the B tier. I think he actually goes like first in the B tier. I think he's very, very good. He's better than normal aspect cards. But the only reason he's not A-lister is because there's strictly another actor with the same acting chops and just better range, better display of acting than Pip. So because of that reason here, Pip goes in a B tier. We're going to have another actor very similar to Pip who just does it better than him. So unfortunately, Pip just goes right there. And Pip's ability does give him the versatility in multiplayer, but I don't think it bumps him up more than the other ally, which is just like a lot better. Okay. Let's go over the Gamora ally here. This is for Nebula's hero pack. So 3 cost ally, 2 thwart, 2 attack, 3 hit points. This is a good stat line for 3-cost ally. Not like amazing, but solid and good, above average. As a response, after you play Gamora, choose a technique upgrade you control, then resolve its special ability. Okay, there are no other technique upgrades in the game other than Nebula's identity-specific cards, so basically a blank effect right here. So yeah, we're just going to put it here in a static category with Blue Marvel and Wasp, exact same thing as these guys. Just 3-cost ally, 2 Thor, 2 attack, 3 hit points, and then blank effect here because their effect only works with the hero that they are paired with. So not the best targets for Cameo. Next, we have the Iron Man ally for War Machine. 3-cost ally, 2 Thor, 2 attack, 3 hit points, same as these guys that we just talked about, so a good stat line. As a response, after Iron Man enters play, you can search your deck and discard pile for any tech upgrade. Add to your hand, shuffle your deck. Okay, guys, unfortunately, you can actually cameo with the Iron Man hero and grab this Iron Man ally and shuffle it into your deck, but you can never play this Iron Man ally if you are the Iron Man hero. Because you can't have both Tony Stark Iron Mans in play at once. So unfortunately, you can't do that. But being able to dig for tech upgrades is useful for a lot of heroes that have identity-specific tech upgrades that you want to grab, right? Like I'm thinking about like Ant-Man's helmet. I'm thinking about like the Ironheart hero will also really enjoy to cameo Iron Man, for the thematic flair, but also because he can grab her one of those tech upgrades to help her out as well. So basically, he's kind of like a version of this Shuri card, but more restrictive. Instead of any upgrade, it has to be only a tech upgrade, right? So yeah, I mean, he's still good though, because a lot of those tech upgrades are like super key, right? Like Cable has like his plasma rifle. So yeah, I mean, he's still better than normal aspect cards. Is he an A-lister? I think that he can be an A-lister for specific heroes that have those key tech upgrades, or for specific builds where you really want to grab a specific tech upgrade, right? But other than that, I think that he's normally just going to be here in the B tier. Better than normal aspect cards. He's a good stat line. I'm going to put him behind Agent 13 and in front of Red Dagger here. I think that, it's a solid ability, but just a little bit restrictive there, limiting it for only tech upgrades. And the hero that wants this the most is the Iron Man hero, who can't ever play the Iron Man ally. So yeah, if he could play for Iron Man, I mean, it still wouldn't bump up more because that's just for one hero, but he can't even be used for the best hero to use it with, right? So he just goes right there. Next, we got Annabelle Riggs, 2-cost ally. She is Valkyrie's identity-specific ally. 1 Thor, 1 attack, 2 hit points. So not the best stat line, but being 2 costs is not terrible, right? Just because 2 costs is so cheap. After ego action, you can exhaust Annabelle Riggs to search the top 5 cards of your deck for any Valkyrie card. So an identity-specific Valkyrie card, add to your hand, then shuffle the rest back into your deck. Well, since we're cameoing this, we are not playing as Valkyrie. We basically can never get any cards with this, so it's a blank ability. 2 costs, 1 Thor, 1 attack, 2 hit points, just a stat stick for us. So she goes in a C tier. She still has range though, because 2 costs is not terrible, but basically the worst stat line for 2-coster, right? I don't know. I think I prefer these stat lines a little bit better. The 2 cost is really nice, but it's the minimal thing of like 2 hit points, 1 Thor, 1 attack. So I'm gonna put her here. Let's put her behind Winter Soldier. Let's put her behind Wong. And let's put her behind Scarlet Witch, because not most of the time, but a lot of times Scarlet Witch can hit a card with this and get additional boosts to like her Thor or attack. If she hits a 0, then it feels really bad. But yeah, I mean, this is not terrible. So Annabelle Riggs at the bottom of the C tier, just a stat stick for us, but the lowest value, but the cheapest as well. Next we have the Vivian ally. This is a Vision's ally right here. 2-cost ally, 1 Thor, 1 attack, 2 hit points, same as Annabelle Riggs with stat line, but while you're in intangible mass form, Vivian gets +2 Thor. While you're in dense mass form, Vivian gets +2 attack. So Shadowcat is phased form and solid mass form, so you can't even like Vivian with Shadowcat. She does not work because Vision is the only hero that has an intangible in a dense mass form. And if you're cameoing Vivian, I mean, you're not playing her with Vision. So he just goes same as Annabelle Riggs right here, just in the bottom of the C tier. Just a stat stick with basically a blank ability here. These allies, not this ally, but this ally is good, for Vision. I'll put him a lot, or put Vivian a lot higher if we're just ranking these allies and how good they are. But for Cameo, Vivian, I don't think she's the best. Next, we got Miss Marvel here. So 3-cost ally with 1 Thwart, 1 attack, 3 hit points. She is for Nova here. Her response, after you play an event, any event, you can exhaust Miss Marvel, deal 1 damage to her, and return that event to your hand. Okay, guys, this is where the game-breaking stuff happens, right? So Miss Marvel is one of those game-breaking allies and helps Nova break the game. But now you can do this with any hero. You can just abuse that if you cameo Miss Marvel into your deck, and you can recur an event. Oh man, I think that she's pretty good. I think she's better than normal aspect cards. I think you can really build cool stuff around her to just give you that, on-demand event recursion, especially if it's like a pivotal event, right? Like if you're playing like, a swing web kick and you need one more swing web kick to win the game, that's very good. If you're playing like a, like a split personality, you do have to split personality into hero form with She-Hulk, which is like not as good, but you can play it and have Ms. Marvel recur split personality for you, and you can play it again, go back down to alter ego, drop it up to 6 again. So that's very cool. If you're playing a hero that has like very, very good events, but only like a copy of them or something like that, that's just very good. But also, even if they have multiple copies, like backflip, you can recur that during the villain phase. You can recur like a quick shift for a Shadowcat during the villain phase as well. A lot of cool things you can do with Miss Marvel. Is she an A-lister for that? I think she's an A-lister, guys. I think being able to recur like those super powerful identity-specific events is very good. I'll put her in front. I'll put her in the top of A-lister. She is definitely a great actress here, Kamala Khan. So we want her to cameo in our games. All right, next we got Brawn here. He's the ally for Ironheart. 4-cost ally with 2 thwart, 3 attack, and 3 hit points. Okay, this is a very good styling for 4-cost ally, right? Having the 3 attack above average attack is pretty nice. While Brawn is exhausted, he gains resource, generate a mental resource limit once per phase. That's very good, guys. That is very, very good. So you can use him to thwart for 2 or attack for 3, and he generates a resource. And you don't have to take any damage for generating the resource. You just have to have him exhausted. He is a very, very good ally. And if you exhaust him every single turn, he can also be like a permanent resource generator. If you can heal him up, he becomes a resource generator on a table for you to use every single turn, right? Like if you're playing a leadership build, a lot of leadership cards can like heal up your allies, right? You heal up Brawn. I mean, he is also providing a resource on top of activating every single turn. I think he goes pretty high up. Is he A-lister or is he like an S-tier cameo here? He's similar to Captain Marvel. I'm gonna put him behind Captain Marvel. I think the card draw is more valuable. I think that she needs to activate for the card draw. He needs to activate most of the time, but he can also just be exhausted to generate the mental resource. So like they're equivalent here. They're equivalent, but I think the card draw from Captain Marvel is a little better. So, but yeah, they're very, very similar. He obviously has a better silent with the 3 attack, but the thwarting is more valuable anyways, which they're tied in. And then the card draw I think is a little better. So I'm gonna put Captain Marvel on top, but definitely very close. And you could definitely make the argument for Brawn being better than Captain Marvel. So yeah, he is also another Hulk I really want to cameo in my games. All right, next we got Captain Americat. This is Spider-Ham's ally here. 3-cost ally, 2 thwart, 2 attack, 3 hit points. As a response, after Captain Americat enters play, you can give someone a high 5, place a tune counter on your identity, and shuffle 1 Spider-Ham card from your discard pile into your deck. So you get a tune counter on your identity, no matter who your identity is. Unfortunately, you can't ever use the tune counter. And unfortunately, you have no Spider-Ham cards because you're not playing a Spider-Ham if you're cameoing this card. So he's just a stat stick here. Same as Blue Marvel and Gamora, but let's put him on top here because Captain Americat is a cat. So yeah, he's my favorite one of these stat sticks here. Just 3 costs, 2 thwart, 2 attack, 3 hit points. Solid stat line for an ally, but not much else other than that. Next we got Venom from SPDR's hero pack. 4-cost ally, so very expensive. 1 thwart, 1 attack, 3 hit points. So this is normally a very, very good ally for Spider because Venom gets +1 thwart and +1 attack for each sim counter on her. And as a hero response, after Venom enters play, you place a sim counter for each resource generated by Spider's suit's sync ratio ability that you use to pay Venom. Unfortunately, Spider's suit is not in play if you're going to cameo Venom, so she's trash. 4-cost ally, 1 thwart, 1 attack, and 3 hit points. This actress has no range. Let's never include her. Let's never target her with cameo because she'll always just have this bare bone silent right there. Next we got Shadowcat. She's the ally. We're going on to mutants now, so that's pretty exciting. She's the ally for Colossus. 3-cost ally, 2 thwart, 2 attack, 3 hit points. Shadowcat ignores the guard and patrol keywords, any crisis icons in play. So pretty nice to bypass that stuff. But I don't know. I think she's still just a stat stick. I don't know if I think it's useful at times, but it's still kind of niche. And even if you can bypass those things, most of the time, unless Shadowcat is giving you the kill, you still need to get rid of that guardman or the patrolman, or you still need to defeat that crisis side scheme, because she's the only one that's able to thwart off of it, right? Or thwart ignoring it, right? So I think that she's good. She's better than all these other statistics, but her ability is not the most useful thing. So she goes in the top of the stat stick category, but the effect is not much more than just her stats. The next ally we have here is Lockheed, who is Shadowcat's ally. So 2 costs, 1 thwart, 1 attack, and 2 hit points. So, you know, the bare bones outline, not terrible, just because 2 costs is super cheap. As a response, after Lockheed enters play, if you're in solid mass form, deal 2 damage enemy. If you're in phase mass form, remove 2 threat from this game. So this only works for Shadowcat, right? If you're cameoing him, he has a blank effect here, so he's going to go in the bottom of C tier. Better than D, because 2 costs, you know, it's still not terrible. Just with Annabelle Riggs here, but there are a lot better options for you to cameo for sure. I definitely would never cameo most of these allies here. There might be a few exceptions with, like, you know, prep cards with Winter Soldier, or like, you know, Scarlet Witch with Falcon, but oftentimes probably going to be cameoing these cards up here in the S tier. Next we have Phoenix, who is the ally for Cyclops. 3 cost ally, 2 thwart, 2 attack, 3 hit points. As a response, after Phoenix enters play, choose a Cyclops card in your discard pile and add to your hand. Well, if we're cameoing her, we're not playing Cyclops. There are no Cyclops cards in our discard pile, so unfortunately, she is just a stat stick here, going the same as like Captain Americat, Blue Marvel, Gamora, Wasp. Effectively no ability, but a good stat line for a 3 cost ally. Next, we got the Cyclops ally, who is in Phoenix's hero pack. Similar stat line, exact same stat line actually, with the 2 thwart, 2 attack, 3 cost, 3 hit points. Response after he enters play, place 2 power counters on Phoenix Force. Interrupt whenever he leaves play. It's a force interrupt. Remove 2 power counters from Phoenix Force. So it's going to be blank because only Phoenix has Phoenix Force, so he goes here in the static category. Jubilee here, 2 cost ally, 1 thwart, 1 attack, and 2 hit points, so not the best outline. As a response though, after Jubilee enters play, choose an enemy until the end of the phase. While Wolverine or Jubilee is making a basic attack against the enemy, they get +2 for that attack. So, you know, not the best value ally if you're not playing Wolverine, because then you don't get the +2 attack on your hero. But Jubilee can also like come in and swing for 3 on, like, you know, the first hit, which is pretty good, right? Like, she's kind of like a Spider-Man Miles Morales, but you can only attack. But like 2 costs to come in, swing for 3, and then chump block, that's pretty good. She's more than a stat stick. She's better than normal aspect cards. I put her behind Iron Man in front of Red Dagger. I think that her ability is good. It's not like an A-lister though, but yeah, she's definitely a strong contender. Not a strong contender. She's definitely a strong backup option to get like that burst attack for only 2 costs here. But still, if you're gonna do cameo, I think there's some better targets to play around with. Okay, next we got Rogue. 4 cost ally, 2 thwart, 2 attack, 3 hit points. A little bit lackluster for having 4 costs, but she has toughness, which kind of makes up for it. But you can reduce the cost to play Rogue by 1 for each charge counter on your identity. Only Gambit gets charge counters, so she's always going to be 4 costs for this type of thing. She does have range, though. She's not going to go in the D tier because of the toughness. I think that puts her at least at the bottom of C tier. But the toughness, I think the toughness is less valuable than just being a 3 cost ally with like this style here. Because if you're using the tough, then you're not playing her, or you're playing her very low tempo, right? That means you're playing her, and then you're not activating, letting her block the first villain attack, and then you're activating the turn after, which is going to take a while. So I think I'm going to put her near the end here. I think she's better than these guys because of the toughness. So yeah, let's put her behind Scarlet Witch. All right, next we got Gambit, the ally for Rogue. 3 cost ally, 2 thwart, 2 attack, 3 hit points. He comes in with 3 charge counters on him. As an intro, whenever he attacks, you can remove a charge counter from him and deal 1 damage to any enemy. So that's pretty cool because he can attack one enemy and pick a damage off elsewhere. He already has a great stat line for being a 3 cost ally. On top of the ability, he is better than most aspect cards. I'm put him in front of Jubilee, behind Iron Man. Yeah. I think that, yeah, I mean, he can basically do 3 damage 3 times, which is pretty nice. And he can thwart if you want him to, right? Pretty good ally, pretty solid ally there. Next, we have Diamondback and Outlaw. These are the 2 identities of allies for Domino. I forgot her name for a second. So Diamondback first, 2-cost ally, 1 thwart, 1 attack, 2 hit points. As an action, exhaust her, deal 1 damage to her, and then discard the top card of your deck. Deal 1 damage to each enemy for each resource icon discarded this way. Outlaw has toughness. Interrupt whenever she attacks. Discard the top card of your deck. She gets +1 attack for his attack for each resource icon discarded this way. So most of the time, for most heroes, it's just going to be 1 card, or like 1 resource icon. Magic may be able to do some cool things with this by like putting more resource icons on top of your deck. Domino is able to count wilds as twice, so it's a lot better with Domino than for most other heroes. I'm having the AoE effect. She's better than War Machine for sure here, Diamondback. But I mean, yeah, it's still not the greatest thing. I think having that potential with the AoE there and like so like she is a stat stick at worst, but having the potential to do 1 damage to each enemy if you want to, having that option, I mean, to do that AoE effect is pretty nice. So I'm putting her at the bottom of B tier. And we have Outlaw here, who does have toughness, but only 1 thwart. And then the attack can be a minimum of 2, because you get at least 1 resource icon. So if you're talking about 3 cost, 3 hit points, 1 thwart, 2 attack, and toughness, I mean, that is a decent stat line for 3-cost ally. So I'm put her in the B tier as well. I think tough has more value from Jubilee's like 1 swing for 3. So I'm going to put Outlaw here in front of Jubilee behind Gambit. Next we got Angel, who is the identity-specific ally for Psylocke. So Angel is the 3-cost ally, 1 thwart, 2 attack, 3 hit points, so decent status. As a response, after you play Angel from your hand, you can ready up your identity. I like this so much more than Lady Sif, who says after she enters play, ready Thor or Odinson. The wording on ready up your identity is so much better than this, and I prefer his stats being at 3 costs and 1 less thwart than the 4 costs and 2 thwart here. So yeah, I'm a fan of this ally. He is good for any hero. Ready is always valuable, but if you're playing a hero like Shuri, who has like an ability tied into their basic activation, then you get even more value from Angel, who can give her the extra ready. So yeah, he is better than aspect cards. Let's put him here. Is he an A-lister? I think he's an A-lister. Getting that ready like from the get-go, I think it's pretty good. I think I'll put him in front of Quicksilver. He's like pretty high tempo as well, right? You play him, he can swing or 2, and you can have your identity, thwart, or attack with whatever your basic activation is. So yeah, I think Angel's A-lister here. Looking at his list, guys, I think Hellcat is a little bit too high. I think we're going to drop Hellcat down. Let's drop her down to the B tier. I think I overvalued her action here because it costs a lot of resources to do, right? Like Agent 13 can just come in and remove 4 threat for 3 costs. Hellcat needs to spend additional. So I think it is a really good ability, but I think she's not A-lister level. Let's put her in front. Let's put her in front of Iron Man though. But yeah, I think it's still a really good ability. I think that A-lister is a little bit too hype for Hellcat here. All right, next we got Psylocke, who is the ally for the Angel hero. 3-cost ally, 1 thwart, 1 attack, 3 hit points. So a pretty bad stat line. Her response after she attacks, if you're in Angel form, you heal 1 damage to Psylocke. If you're in Archangel form, ready your hero. So basically after she attacks, she has no ability if you're cameoing her. So pretty terrible. She goes in D tier. She has no range at all because her stat line is bad as well. Worse than this stat line here. Worse than this stat line. 4 hit points, so worse than this stat line, and better than Venom though, because Venom is 1 cost more. So this is where Psylocke will go in the tier list. Next we got Honey Badger, so 2-cost ally, 1 thwart, 1 attack, 2 hit points. As a hero response after Honey Badger takes any amount of damage, ready X23. Okay, that sucks because the wording says not ready your identity, ready X23, and if you're cameoing Honey Badger, you are not playing as X23, so you can't get that ready. So she's a stat stick. 2 costs makes her like better than these guys in D tier. So yeah, let's put her in here, like in between Vivian and Annabelle Riggs, but she's definitely just in the same level as all these other allies here. All right, next we got Cable. Ooh, so this is Deadpool's specific ally. 3-cost ally, 1 thwart, 2 attack, 3 hit points. So a decent stat line for 3-cost ally. But Cable gets +1 thwart and +1 attack for each acceleration token on the main scheme to a max of +3 thwart, +3 attack. This really works well for Deadpool. He's really good for Deadpool, actually, but for any other hero, is not going to be that good. You get extra stats if there are acceleration tokens, but, like, I don't know if you even want acceleration tokens. So, like, I mean, you definitely don't want them. So, like, he's around Winter Soldier level for me, right? Like, he is not as good statted as all these allies here. But then his effect triggers with acceleration tokens, which you usually don't want unless you're playing Deadpool, and you're not playing Deadpool if you're Cameo and Cable. So I think he actually just goes behind Winter Soldier and behind Wong as well. Actually, even behind Scarlet Witch. Actually, he goes even behind there. He just has a decent stat line. That's pretty much it. Because, I mean, obviously, if you're playing him in a bad situation where you have a bunch of acceleration tokens, like 3, then, like, he goes, like, in, like, the A tier or even S tier. But I think most of the times you want to end these games before you get acceleration tokens. So, yeah, I'm putting him here. But he can definitely scale up. I can see the argument for him being good if you have acceleration tokens or if you often play games with acceleration tokens in play. All right, next we have the 2 allies for Bishop here with Malcolm and Randall. They're pretty similar. So they're both 3 costed, both have 3 hit points. This one is 1 thwart 2 attack. This one is 2 thwart 1 attack. As action, you can discard a resource card from your hand and ready at Malcolm. If the resource card has a printed physical, you can heal damage from Malcolm as well. Randall's the same thing, but for a energy icon on the resource card. So very good for Bishop because Bishop's temporal resources have the physical and the energy there. But for most other heroes, if you're playing like a regular deck, you may only have with the printed energy or physicals like your energy card, your energy resource, or your strength resource. At San though, their stat line is not terrible, especially Randall with the 2 thwart 1 attack. But yeah, these guys aren't crazy. They're just kind of like stat sticks, and their abilities, you know, are usable, but I don't think it's like as much versatility as Hellcat because you had this card a resource card, right? If it was just this card, any card, and then the resource on that card, you trade the effect. They can work a lot with any other hero. But they're very good with Bishop because he has so many resource cards, and you want to put an extra resource in your deck. But for most other heroes, you're not running that many resources, so same style line as Cable. So I'm gonna put him in this category here around Cable, but Randall above Cable because of 2 thwart, Malcolm behind Cable because I like the acceleration token here better than this effect here. Okay. Ooh, next we got Colossus. Okay, we've been hitting a lot of the weaker, like more situational allies. I think the mutant tier or the mutant allies here really work best with their hero, right? Versus a lot of the earlier allies worked with like any hero. So we had a lot in the S tier and A tier here, but Colossus is going up pretty high. He's a pretty good actor. So we talked a little bit about Pip the Troll here, and I do think that Colossus, this ally from Magic's hero deck, is the better version of Pip the Troll. 3 cost ally, 2 thwart, 2 attack, 3 hit points. That is a very good stat line. He has toughness as well, so he doesn't even need toughness to be good, but he's already like, he's got the toughness, he's got this. Very, 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 very good stat line. As interrupt, whenever an enemy attacks you, so during the villain phase when an enemy attacks you, or you can do it in the play phase if the enemy attacks you, right? Play Colossus from your hand by paying his resource cost and declare him the defender without exhausting. Guys, that is so much better than Pip the Troll because you don't have to exhaust. So he's super high tempo. If you end your play phase, you draw Colossus. Then during the villain phase, the villain attacks you. You can trade Colossus ability. You pay the cost of 3. You play him down, and he is the target of the attack. So he tanks the attack for you. He loses tough, but he's still readied up because he doesn't have to exhaust. Then during the next player phase, he's readied up now. He can thwart or attack for 2 immediately. Versus for Pip the Troll, he's going to stay exhausted after he exhausts him during the villain phase, right? Then during your turn, during the player phase, he's exhausted to wait through the next player phase, come back around to use his activation. So Colossus, super smooth, a lot better than Pip the Troll. Amazing, amazing ability there. Very defensive for any hero that's, kind of squishy. So he goes in S tier. I think he is an amazing camp that we always want. I have him above Nebula for sure. I have him around this top 4. Is he better than Spider-Woman? I don't know. Oh, man. Colossus is so good, guys. I think that, the more I play more champions, the more that I do find value from the Confuse, like Professor X. And Spider-Woman is just strictly, in my opinion, a better Professor X, right? I mean, X can throw for 3. She throws for only 2, which is a little bit worse, but she can stay in play if you want her to. I think Colossus is better, actually. I think Colossus is so far the best cameo. He's the most expensive actor that we're going to pay money for to get him in our movie because he works. I mean, piercing is bad for him, but he works against overkill. So a lot of the hard difficulty scenarios have overkill. That's what makes them the hard difficulty scenarios, and Colossus can block that out. Spider-Woman is like more neutered against those hard difficulty scenarios because of steady and stalwart. So I think just Colossus being able to universally work across like easier difficulties and more difficult difficulties, that makes him very good. I think he is the actor that we're gonna pay the most money for. Yeah, I think he's very, very good. Very defensive. Works for any squishy hero like like Hawkeye would love this guy. I think Hawkeye would prefer Colossus over Mockingbird, because the tempo as well. Um, yeah, because Hawkeye doesn't always have the resource to spend this and play her back down. I mean, I think any hero would love Colossus. Even if you're like a tanky hero, you get good value out of Colossus. Like any hero loves Colossus. He is just super duper good. He doesn't have to exhaust, which is crazy. All right, next we got the Snow Clone, which is the allies. There's 2 copies of this ally in Iceman's hero deck. 2 cost ally, no Thoring stats, so you can never Thor with him. You can't even buff his Thor stats to like Thor with him. 2 attack though, and 2 hit points. So you know it's okay. It's just like good attack, but no Thoring though. So not a lot of versatility there. He cannot have upgrades attached. Snow Clone takes -1 consequent damage after it attacks an enemy with Frostbite attached. Well, only Iceman can attach Frostbites, and if you're using Cameo for Snow Clone, you cannot even have another player, at the table play as Iceman. So basically no ability here except for the negative one where you cannot have upgrades attached. So yeah, you can't be Voltron or anything like that. Just two costs to attack for 2 twice with 2 hit points, right? So is he a stat stick? I think he has no range. He goes in D tier. I think that for a stat stick, I at least want Thording on the stat stick, right? I want the versatility of like the stats to be Thord, and missing that, I think it's a pretty big hit. So yeah, he goes here in the top of D tier. I think he's better than these guys though. For some reason, this Ice Snow Clone, he can act better than Nova Prime, Lady Sif, Ant-Man, War Machine, all of these guys here. These guys are just terrible actors. At least Snow Clone's got a little bit more range than these guys here. All right, next we got Wolverine, 4 cost ally with 1 Thort, 3 attack, takes 2 consequent damage for attacking though, and 4 hit points. This is Jubilee's identity specific ally. Wolverine's attacks do have piercing though, which is pretty nice. As a response, after you change to alter ego form, heal 3 damage from Wolverine. That's pretty nice. Where does he go? So you can really Voltron him if you're playing a hero that changes to alter ego form a lot. So I'll put him in A-lister, guys. I think he's pretty good. I think he's underrated, even as Jubilee's ally. He's not the best thing in the world, but I think he's underrated. And I think that something you have to really deck build for like an alter ego. Like you have to flip a lot, right? If you don't flip a lot. Yeah, no. I think it's because I flip a lot whenever I play, so I think he works better for my play style. But I did consider him for like most players, so I think most of the time he's not. He's still better than most aspect cards. So let's put him. I think he is better than Jubilee though. Yeah, so we're putting him right here in between Jubilee and Outlaw. Next we got Day Tripper. This is Nightcrawler's ally here. 2 cost ally, 2 Thwart, 2 attack, 2 hit points. So a great stat line, an amazing stat line for a 2 cost ally to have 2 Thwart and 2 attack. Very high tempo. As a response, after she enters play, search your deck and discard power for a copy of Banff. Attach to enemy. Deal 1 damage to each enemy with the Banff. There are no Banffs if you're using a Cameo to guard Day Tripper. No Banffs in the game, right? Because no Nightcrawler can be in the game. So yeah, she's a blank stat stick. But the top of the stat stick category, she is missing 1 hit point from like all these guys here that have like the 3 hit points, but that's very well like worth being 1 whole cost cheaper. 2 Thor, 2 attack for 2 cost ally, guys. I take that every single time. Very, very good styling here. We are nearing the end of the list, guys. We have 8 more allies to go. Okay, we're going on to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. now. We just finished all of the mutants because Magneto does not have an identity-specific ally. All right, so next we got Nick Fury. So this is Maria Hill's ally here. 4 cost ally, 2 Thor, 2 attack, 3 hit points. Not the best ally because 4 cost is pretty expensive. Response after you use the basic power, place 1 all-purpose count on a shield support. So like that's actually useful outside of Maria Hill because like if you have like command teams, you can actually place a counter on it. But I think those counters work a lot better with Maria Hill. So like yeah, and then you have to be in leadership most of the time with a Cameo for Nick Fury. So I think it's not that worth it to Cameo Nick Fury to like get counters to put on like a command team just from Nick Fury activating, right? So I think dang, he's like worse. He's like in the no range category, right? He's not a good actor. But then like this ability has like a very limited use. But I think the use is just so limited that he's still gonna just go here. Yeah, I think I'm putting him above Nova Prime though. No, I like the defeat. Okay, no. This is also limited, but I think that this has more applications than placing 1 all-purpose counter on shield support whenever he activates. Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I don't think Nick Fury is a good actor here. Yeah, so I'm putting him here in no range. The next identity-specific ally that we have is Maria Hill, who is Nick Fury's ally. 3 costs, 2 thwart, 1 attack, and 3 hit points. So this is a good stat line for a 3-cost ally. As interrupt, whenever Maria Hill thwarts, you can place the remove threat on your suit form upgrade. So only Nick Fury has a suit form upgrade. So yeah, this only works for Nick Fury. She basically has a blank effect here for Cameo, right? So just a stat stick. She's gonna go behind these stat sticks here, who are better stat sticks. I think Wong is better for the healing if you want that. So she's gonna be like Rando level, but worse because these guys at least have an ability. So I'm gonna put her in front of Vivian here. I think the two thwart ability to activate 3 times is better than Vivian, but not better than any of these guys that can do more things on top of that. Okay, we got how much? 6 more allies left, guys. We're almost there. All right, next we have the T'Challa ally from Shuri's hero pack. 4 cost ally, 2 thwart, 2 attack, 3 hit points. So pretty expensive for being 4 cost. Hero response after he uses a basic power. Resolve a special ability on a Black Panther upgrade you control. This would be so cool if we could cameo him playing as the T'Challa hero. But even though you can actually do that, whenever you shuffle this T'Challa into your deck, you can never play him because of the unique rule, because he matches the alter ego title of the Black Panther T'Challa hero. So he can never be in play with that Black Panther hero. So there basically are no Black Panther upgrades other than Shuri and T'Challa. So Cameo makes him a blank card basically, right? So just a stat stick, not as good as the other stat sticks here. So he goes in this stat stick category along with Lady Sif and Ant-Man, basically exact same as these guys right here. All right. Next, we got Red Wing, who is the ally for Falcon. 2 cost ally, 1 thwart, 1 attack, 2 hit points. As a hero action, you exhaust Red Wing, return him back to your hand, and discard the top card of the encounter deck. Then you can choose to either deal X damage to an enemy or remove X threat from a scheme, where X equals the number of the total icons, the boost, and the boost effect icons in the discarded cards boost area. So Red Wing is best for Falcon. He's not going to be as good for most other heroes unless you're playing like a scry heavy deck. But once again, leadership with Cameo is not going to be like the most scry type of deck. So yeah, I mean, he's not terrible. At worst, he's a stat stick. I think at best, though, he's still kind of a stat stick. He just works a lot better with Falcon. You need to know what card's coming. So I think he is similar to Scarlet Witch. 2 costs to get him back down. So I think Scarlet Witch is better. I just prefer more consistency. So I think I have him worse than... Yeah, I think he's just on top of these allies here. Um, yeah, yeah. I mean, he's just kind of like a stat stick with these guys, but he has that option if you want to. But I don't know if I would do that most. I mean, I would just never cameo Red Wing. I think he's not a great cameo target. But hopefully there'll be future heroes that work with bird cards, and then he might be a more fun cameo target. All right, next we got Winter Soldier's ally here, Black Widow. 3 cost ally, 2 thwart, 2 attack, 3 hit points. So this is a pretty good stat line for 3 cost ally. Response, after you play Black Widow from your hand, return an attack event from your discard pile to your hand. This works for every single hero. Pretty good. Almost every hero, like we talked about before, has attack events in their kit. So she's almost kind of 2 cost for 2 thwart, 2 attack. So I think she's at worst a good stat stick here, better than Day Tripper. And at best, I think she actually goes above. I think she's better than regular aspect cards, especially if you're synergizing with like attack events and you want more attack events with your hero. That could go well as well. I think I'm going to put her around this area actually with Gambit. Let's just put her in front of Gambit and behind Iron Man here. Be able to recur a powerful attack event like a swing web kick or swing web pig. If you're playing like Spider Ham to get that confused off, or whatever kicker on your powerful attack event, could be very useful. So I think that she has some definitely good uses there. All right, next we're over to Civil War now. So Moon Knight is the ally for Tigra. 1 cost ally, 2 thwart, 2 attack, 3 hit points. So very amazing silent for only being 1 cost, guys. He can activate 3 times with 3 hit points and 2 thwart, 2 attack. Bonkers. But it does have a force response, so you have to trigger this here. After Moon Knight enters play, you search the encounter deck and the discard pile for a minion and put it into play engage with you. Then you stun and confuse a minion. Okay, we all know how good this card is for Tigra, but it's also good for any minion slayer, right? I'm thinking about this card with like Thor. Guys, if you're playing Thor, like squared off leadership, you cameo Moon Knight. He's amazing because he puts the minion into play engage with you. Thor will draw 2 cards with Havity, and the minion is stunned and confused, so you can block their activations for a little bit, and you don't have to defeat them yet, just holding them on there, right? So yeah, any hero with a minion synergy like this works well with like Winter Soldier as well. Just get like a powerful static ally in play, and you also get to proc some minion abilities. So he's definitely better than aspect cards. Is he an A-lister? I'm super tempted to put him A-lister here because even if you're playing a hero that has no synergy with minions. You're grabbing the weakest minion here because you look through the encounter discard pile in addition to the encounter deck, which is a lot more powerful than only looking through the encounter deck. So you just grab the weakest minion that can't be stunned or confused. You stun and confuse them, and then like you get to summon this powerful ally, which by the time that the minion gets rid of their like stun and it can actually do damage to you, Moon Knight can just take out that ally for you, right? Like he can activate enough times to usually take out that weak ally. So I think he's an A-lister. I think he's just universally good. But like if you're playing a minion heavy hero like Thor, he's probably like top of S tier. But yeah, I mean for Tigra, he's probably S tier. For like average dot, I think he's here in the bottom to A tier. So he's definitely a really good actor. We all know Moon Knight. He's got really good acting skills, right? He can like play all these different. He has a lot of range, at least, right? Next we have Wiccan, who is the ally for Hulkling. 2-cost ally, so very cheap. 2 thwart, 1 attack, 2 hit points. So a good stat line here. A great stat line for a 2-cost ally. Response: after you play Wiccan from your hand, search your deck and discard pile for an identity-specific event and add to your hand. Guys, why is the wording so good for Cameo? I love that. It's not like a shapeshift upgrade or like shapeshift event or anything like that. That only works for Hulkling. But for any identity-specific event, add to your hand. So this is kind of like Hope Summers, that ally, like a little bit there. But he's much cheaper. Guys, he's pretty good. Like a lot of heroes want to get those identity-specific events to their hand. He's at worst at the top of the A tier. He's gonna be an A-lister at least, right? And as an identity-specific event out your hand, no way. He's like Nebula level. He's better than Nebula, right? Because Nebula's only attacking thwarts. This is only identity-specific, but oftentimes those are gonna be your best events, especially if you're playing leadership. Those events, the identity-specific events, are probably gonna be the more key ones, right? You can grab like your backflip if you want for Spider-Man. Yeah, you can grab like all those crazy powerful events. You can grab like your split personality for She-Hulk. That's pretty cool as well. So I mean, Nebula does get to enter play with this. You have to play Wiccan from your hand to trigger his ability. But yeah, very, very good. He's Esther Cameo. He's a very good actor. A lot of range on Wiccan right here. All right, we are finally at our last ally, and this ally has not even been released yet. It's going to be in Hercules hero deck. Amadeus Cho, 2-cost ally, 1 thwart, 1 attack, 2 hit points. So the bearable in stat line, but not bad because he's only 2 costs. As a force interrupt, that means you have to trigger this interrupt here. When a minion would attack you, it attacks Amadeus Cho instead. So minion attacks all go towards Amadeus Cho. You have to do that. And then as an action, you can exhaust Amadeus Cho to draw 1 card. Okay, he is pretty good. I think he might be better for other heroes than he actually is for Hercules, right? Because if you have more economy, he builds your economy even more. If you play in leadership, you have like the Triskeleton, just have him in play with Cameo, and then just exhaust him every single turn to draw you a card. Very, very good. Just make sure that you clear the board of minions, or else they will attack Amadeus Cho. You can also be an alter ego where minions will scheme instead of attack, so you can just keep it in play. So he's one of these guys you just always want to keep around, keep it in play, and he's drawing you that card permanently every single turn. So very Captain Marvel-esque. However, I think it's weird. It's weird because Captain Marvel is a mansion with high tempo because she's thwarting and attacking for you, and then she draws you a card which is tied into that thwart and attack for 2. Amadeus Cho, he has to exhaust, so he's not thwarting or attacking to draw that card. So he's basically the equivalent of a mansion, except he's cheaper, but you have to make sure that you manage minions, right? If there are minions in play, then he'll probably die to like a minion attack, which you definitely don't want. He can always be a last resort chump blocker as well, which is pretty nice. I think he does go in S tier here. I think I'm gonna pay a lot of money to have Amadeus Cho Cameo. I think that I'm gonna put him underneath these guys here. Because the thing is, this effect, bare bones is better. But I think if you're playing Cameo, you want to do more stuff with the ally that you're cameoing. And if you build more around Brawn and Captain Marvel, their potential goes like way beyond Amadeus Cho. Amadeus Cho has a higher floor than these guys, but not like that much higher, right? He is a better like floor if you're doing nothing else with him other than just exhausting draw a card. But these guys, if you can keep these guys around in leadership, you can get a lot of value out of them, right? Every single turn, they're activating and also providing that extra economy for you. So yeah, I think this is a good spot here for Amadeus Cho. So yeah, this is our tier list here, guys. Okay, so this is ranking every single identity ally in Marvel Champions for how good they are with the Cameo card. And yeah, I gotta say, what do you think about this? It's a pretty clean list here, actually. I'm surprised that it's so S tier top heavy, but I don't think I can put any of these guys. I don't think I can drop them. I don't think I can drop them down to A tier because they are a tier above, right? These are some really good allies right here. Um, we surprisingly have the most stat sticks. I think just because a lot of hero abilities or a lot of these abilities for these allies are nullified when they're not paired up with their hero. Because the ability synergizes more with the hero, right? Like with Day Tripper, right? She can do more effects with Bamf, but then you have no Bamf if you're not playing Nightcrawler, so she's just a stat stick here. So I think that makes sense why this tier is the biggest. These guys are bad actors; they have no range. And then yeah, we have some decent heroes here. I think that you could definitely make the argument for anyone in the B tier and A tier to like be swapped or like bump them up or down. Just because in different situations, these can be better or worse, right? Like a lot of these cards can't be swapped. And there are situational uses where you can get a lot more value out of them, right? Like for example, Iron Man playing with like a hero with a bunch of tech upgrades, he can get a lot more value than like with other heroes. But even with like tech upgrades, I mean, Shuri can grab, which is kind of why I have him lower, because Shuri is like the superior version of grabbing those tech upgrades as well, because she can grab any upgrade in general, right? Same reason why we kind of have Wong a little bit lower than I would put him, just because we have Mantis, who is a better target for healing, because she can heal for 3, right? So yeah, and she's cheaper, right? Only being 2 costs. So yeah, I think this is a fair ranking here, guys. Let me know down in the comments what you think, which one you guys agree with or disagree with. Let me know what you think is the best pairing for a hero and an identity specific ally for them to cameo, with their deck, right? I think for me, I would probably say Shuri with Iron Man is very, very cool, right? Because you're playing leadership Iron Man with Cameo, and then you grab Shuri. Each time Shuri enters play, you can grab any one of your tech upgrades and add it to your hand, and you can make the call Shuri constantly to really speed that up. I think that is a lot of fun. I definitely want to try a Cameo Shuri build with Tony Stark Iron Man the hero. These guys I do have above Shuri here just because I think they're just universally just so good that they have to go higher up in S tier, right? Spider-Woman giving that confused to like the villain every single time. Colossus being able to play him, block an attack with the top, and immediately activate during the next player phase, like as well. So good here, but yeah, definitely there are a lot of really fun and cool options to cameo in games with the S tier here. So that's very, very exciting to see. Yeah, this is such a cool card Cameo, and I'm excited to see all the builds and deck lists that work with these allies here with Cameo. I think that Cameo is just like the card that really represents what Marvel Champions is. It like breaks the game in terms of like the fourth wall because you're grabbing like an ally from like another hero's deck, putting it into your deck, but it's still pretty balanced and it's not going to break the game in terms of like the mechanics, like something super overpowered or anything like that. I think that it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm very excited to see all the cool new decks and strategies that the community comes up with all these powerful allies with a mixed match of different heroes. And I also have one other card to review here for you guys, and this card is Battlefield Benevolence. It's a 1-cost event. It has Spider-Man and Vulture here on the art. And we spent most of the video talking about Cameo, but this card is no slacker in its own right. This card is actually pretty insane here, actually. So it is a tactic card here, so pretty useful if you're playing with Cyclops. If you're playing his Thor event, Tactical Brilliance, you can grab some discard power and add it back to your hand as a tactic event. You cannot use Cyclops's alter ego ability to grab this card, though, because it's not a tactic upgrade. As a hero action, you heal 2 damage from enemy and then confuse the enemy. And then the flavor text we have is, what's the trick? And that's what Vulture is saying to Spider-Man here. Whenever he's extending an arm out. I love the flare on this card, guys. This is such a cool card. I feel like it kind of got overshadowed in my preview video by Cameo, but it's still an amazing card in its own right here. So heal 2 damage from enemy with the cost arrow means that if you cannot heal the full 2 damage from enemy, you cannot confuse the enemy, right? So this works similar to like a what doesn't kill me. That's what this card reminds me of the most. So for that protection card, you must be able to heal 2 damage from your hero in order to ready up your hero, right? So similar type of thing. If you're facing like a minion and the minion has like 3 hit points, out of 4 hit points is like the max, then you will not be able to confuse that minion with Battlefield Benevolence unless they take some more damage that you can heal a full 2 on them. So I think where you can get the most value out of this card is if you are facing a villain and you've already dealt damage to a villain. Well, this is just a 1-cost event. You just heal 2 damage, which is not that bad at all, right? If any of you have played like the core set, you know that some of the weakest cards in the core set are those cards that like heal Rhino or heal Ultron. And if they're at full life, the card will surge. but if they're not full life, they just heal a little bit, and that's a really chilling kind of card to get, right? So healing 2 damage is negligible. It's not that bad at all. And to get confused from that, it almost feels like a free confuse. I think this is a lot better, obviously, on the villain than on minions, because minions you just rather spend resources to take them out than like confusing them for a whole turn and flipping down, having them, confused. At this card's worst, you can kind of play this card as if it was like an upside the head, right? So upside the head, you have to attack, the villain, for example, if you want to play it as a response and then like confuse that villain. So for this card here, you can just, exhaust, attack the villain. Hopefully your hero has like at least 2 attack, you do 2 damage, then you just play this card after that, heal the 2 damage back up and then confuse the enemy. But ideally, I would say you probably wanted to have done the damage during a prior turn, so you can just use your basic activation this turn to like possibly flip down and recover, because you have the enemy confused. But yeah, very, very cool card. A lot of cool flavor. I love that this is a justice card. Giving justice just more ways to confuse in general is always nice, especially this one in an efficient way. And one thing I really want to see more of is the design space for healing damage from enemies, guys. Which hero that has not come out yet in Marvel Champions do you think would be like the perfect hero to always heal the villain and like get other effects out of that? That would be insane. I think that this opens up a lot of design space. I don't know if Justice would be the best aspect for that. Maybe protection, but like I think Justice does also need some new archetypes, right? So like maybe like you heal a lot of damage to remove threat, right? Because the villain's like chilling, so you can like remove threat from like their schemes. I think that that's also like a fun thing. So yeah, I'm excited to see a lot more healing cards here, but I think this is the first one that we've really gotten that like heals an enemy and gives you a powerful effect for that. So yeah, I hope you guys like this card as well. And if you made this far in the video, thank you so much for watching, guys. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think about these 2 cards, about Cameo, about cool combos with Cameo, and about Battlefield Benevolence, and what other cards you want in this design space of healing enemy and doing a different effect on top of that. I think that that's super duper cool. So love seeing a card like this as well. So yeah, thank you so much once again to Fantasy Flight Games for giving me the honor of revealing these cards for the community. I hope you guys all like this video. And as usual, I would never be here without you guys. So thank you so much for your support. Everyone who's watching, everyone who subscribed, everyone who likes, comments, all that stuff. I sincerely appreciate you guys. I love being able to get cards and make these videos to present for the community, guys. Tons of fun here. I love making this tier list as well. Let me zoom out a little bit so you guys can see the end here. I didn't realize that you couldn't see that. So we have a Lockheed at the end of the C tier, a very big C tier. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys are having a great week, and I'll see you guys all in the next video.